electrostatic. So this is the law which explains the force between two charges. That is, electrostatic force between any two charges will be explained by the Coulomb's law. Okay, so therefore, according to Coulomb's law, the electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between two charges is directly proportional to the magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Say for example, if I consider two charges Q1 and Q2, if they are separated by a distance r, then according to this Coulomb's law, the force between Q1 and Q2, that is F, is directly proportional to the magnitude of product of the two charges, that is Q1 and Q2. Similarly, that force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, so that implies force is equal to some constant k q1 q2 divided by r square. Now this constant k is found to be 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9. Now here we got another new quantity, that is epsilon naught. Okay, so epsilon naught, it is the absolute permittivity. That is permittivity for free space or vacuum, and its value is nearly equal to 8.854 into 10 raised to minus 12 coulomb per Newton per meter square. Okay, so there is a value of epsilon naught. That means you are using epsilon naught, that is absolute permittivity for air or vacuum. Therefore, here the medium between the two charges must be air or vacuum. Okay, if there is any other medium rather than the air, say for example, if there is other gases like CO2, or if there is another medium like water, if there is another medium like oil, then you have to introduce, along with this absolute permittivity, you have to introduce the relative permittivity, that is epsilon r. Okay, so therefore, if there is a medium, then along with this epsilon naught, you have to use epsilon r. That is epsilon naught, epsilon r should be here. Therefore, with all those things, we will get mathematical formula for the Coulomb's law as F is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by r square. This is when there is a air. If there is a medium, then F is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught epsilon r Q1 Q2 divided by r square for other medium. Okay, so this is for air and this is for other medium. Okay, so this is about the Coulomb's law, which explains the force between the two charges. Now, if I consider the force, now force is the vector quantity. Now, by this formula, we can find what is the magnitude of the force between any two charges. But it don't give the direction. Therefore, to specify the direction, we have to discuss the vector form of Coulomb's law. We have to discuss vector form of the Coulomb's law. Okay, so if force is the vector, then it must have the direction as well as the magnitude. How much it is, that is the magnitude of the force between the two charges, is given by this formula, that is F is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by r square. But it is not explaining what is the direction of the force. That is, if you see this equation, you cannot guess whether force is acting by Q1 on Q2 or by Q2 on Q1. For that one, let us have this vector form, right? Say this is the force which explains force by Q1 on Q2. Okay, if it is exerting force on Q2, right, then I'll write this one as F12. That is force by Q1 on Q2, that is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 divided by R square into R cap. You can write R cap 1 2 like this. Okay, so here R cap 1 2, this represent unit vector. Unit vector, you have to take the unit vector along the distance between the two charges, and that vector must specify what is the direction of the force. Therefore, R12 is the unit vector along the direction of F12, that is force. Okay, so therefore this quantity explains the magnitude, whereas this quantity explains the direction of the force. Therefore this gives the vector form of the Coulomb's law. So therefore, if you consider the Coulomb's law, thing is very clear. It follows the inverse square law. Okay, it follows the inverse square law. Also, the force between two charges, according to this Coulomb's law, that depends upon the medium between the two charges. Okay, that is indicated by epsilon naught. This is about the Coulomb's law in electrostatic. Thank you.